Yesterday we saw the Tamil Nadu Slum Clearance Board. Around the same time, Maharashtra also came up with the Slum Clearance Act 1971. And we had this initial practice of saying illegal, just throw them out. Then after, tolerate them, or maybe provide some improvement work, some form of some water supply and certain stuff like that, or push them into the periphery, so have a slum clearance and resettle them in the periphery. We have not done away with all those practices. Even now, we continue to do them. What we saw yesterday is a revised version of what used to be done earlier. Earlier, they were pushed out into the periphery, into what were called in Mumbai terms pitches. A small patch of land, 10 by 15 square feet, you go there and settle there. Today, instead of providing a pitches, we are providing them maybe a multi-story tenement through some scheme of GNNURM or any other thing. But the fact remains that they are not tolerated by saying they are on objectionable land, non-conforming land, and therefore they need to be actually out of the city periphery, where there will be problem of access and communication. Now, over the years, then in the 80s, we had slum upgradation as a new concept, a paradigm shift in the sense it talked about giving land tenure to them, because it was recognized that it is land tenure that is going to maybe solve their problems. So once they become owners, then maybe they can also further do self-help housing. Again, had limited sort of success, basically because most of these settlements have come up on lands which, in yesterday's terminology, are objectionable or which are non-conforming to the development of the master plan, which has created land spaces and earmarked spaces, most of which is out of bounds of the poor. So they are earmarked for various other purposes except for housing for the poor. Now obviously such lands, especially when such lands get earmarked, especially as non-buildable areas of public playgrounds and stuff like that, and if it is under a private ownership, the private owner is more inclined to illegally sell off his land to a slumlord in order to create a slum. And therefore 50% of Mumbai slums today stand on lands which are privately owned. So the reason goes back again to our faulty planning methodology that we follow in our master plan and development plan. Thereafter came this issue of wherever a slum upgradation is possible, that means a land can be given to a cooperative society of the dwellers. Why can't we allow the dwellers also to come forward and create a formal housing? So you remove the barrier of entry from an informality to formality by having an in situ redevelopment. The first thing of this nature was done in the late 80s, I recall, again in Dharavi, which in fact could have been a solution and could have been adopted as the trendsetter for slum redevelopment, because it not only allowed the people to come forward with whatever savings they had, so it was a scheme based on payment, whatever they can afford, and also institutional finance, which will be repaid over 15-20 years. So about 1,500 odd families in Dharavi in two Nagars, Rajendra Prasad Nagar, which in fact I happen to be director of that project. It was called the Prime Minister's Grant Project, an aid from the central government. Had four components. There was a payment which the people themselves made for their own house. There was a component of a loan. There was a cross subsidy generated by some commercial tenements which were created. And there was a subsidy which was given out from this seed money which came from the central government. And it actually paid for the total cost of construction. Land cost was borne by the state. It was working fine, but suddenly in fact we came up with a populist scheme called the slum rehabilitation scheme, where in fact I think the developers prevailed upon the powers that be, that the developers who felt that no other land is available in the city, the slum land is the only land they can actually eye, so they said this is a land where we will provide a free house to the slum dwellers. So on the face of it, it seemed to be a brilliant scheme, because every poor person in the city, 50% or 55%, will get a free house. But then what exactly happened is, this 50-55% of the slum population, which actually occupies only 8% of the land space of Mumbai, is getting further marginalized into maybe 3% of the land space. Because on that piece of land, they are pushed only 30% of the land into a high-rise, and the remaining land is then taken away by the developer, which is actually used as a free sale tenement. Now, this is the scheme which has been happening last 10-15 years and has actually created some 1.5 to 2 lakh houses in Mumbai. But then the original dream that was sold to the people was that all 8 lakh families, 800,000 families which happen to be then the Mumbai slum population, will get a free house in Mumbai. Next please. Now, the impediments that have come in, first of course, that we have an act which states that it is not a scheme which allows every slum dweller to get a free house. So there is a cut-off date, which in fact over the years have got extended from time to time whenever there is an election. So it is now presently standing at 2000. 2000 is the year. So if a structure has come up prior to the year 2000, then he is eligible to this. And if it has come later, then he has to be thrown out. So the throwing away of the slum dweller, if he has come later than 2000, still continues. We are in 2016. So this seems to suggest that the whole migration has stopped. And in fact, once you do solve this problem, then the other problem automatically vanishes in thin air. The other problem, what we saw in the case of Riaz Khan yesterday in the film, of people who are staying in the mezzanine floor. These structures have been allowed to go up to 14 feet. So it's not that one structure houses one household. There are multiple households staying in the structure. But the government policy only allows a free tenement in lieu of one structure. And people like Riaz Khan in yesterday's film Dharavi has to then be pushed out. So it doesn't become a resettlement or a rehabilitation, it becomes actually a displacement scheme for a large number of such people. Then as I said, these settlements have come upon non-conforming lands to the development plan and master plan, so they have no future there, they have to be again thrown out of that area. There is certainly lack of community participation. All these schemes that have come up are basically either developer driven or the government parastatal driven, where there is hardly any scope or role for the community to participate in the various decisions, be it in the choice of lands and other things. And they are actually bringing in more density which is not sustainable enough. There is no policy to deal with the future migratory population. And certainly creating conflict that such people who are lawbreakers are being made eligible for a free house, whereas there are other people also, the lower middle class, who have been the law abiding people, they are not getting. In the backdrop of this next, we have the PMAY, which talks about covering 4,000 statutory towns, 500 in the first day, and will cover say 2 crore, 20 million households over the next 5 to 7 years. The state also, Maharashtra government has accepted that. It also talks about a figure like 1.9 million affordable houses. The recent Mumbai Development Plan 2034, which is now under discussion for objection suggestion, also talks about creating 1 million affordable houses. So basically, there is talk in the government and the local body authorities that there is a need to create affordable housing. In situ rehabilitation is one of the components where of course this talks about in Maharashtra will be applicable to cities where there is no SRA, because SRA gives a free house. So this will be applicable in non-SRA towns. Credit linked subsidy is an interest subvention scheme. This is the only scheme which covers the lower income group, that is the group having 3 to 6 lakhs. So there is no subsidy as per se, but the subsidy is in the form of interest subvention. So through a bank, this will get covered. Affordable housing in partnership, where it is expected that state parastatals will work with private sector to create affordable housing. The subsidy for beneficiary, if you own a own house, own land, in such cases, it's an individual scheme which will be given. So the state can choose any one of these, but it is expected these 4 verticals will deliver 2 crore houses nationally. And in the Maharashtra context, 20 lakh houses over the next 5 to 7 years. And these are the bottlenecks which in fact need to be resolved before we can actually say whether this is in any way going to create any solution for the informal settlements that we have. We have this problem of cut-off date, and we have the continuous migration that will continue. So the cut-off date, anyone who is beyond the cut-off date, how do you deal with them? Is there any space for them in the city or not? Will have to be resolved. Excessive emphasis on ownership housing. It's not necessary that everyone has to own a house. And we don't seem to be talking about rental housing. Fortunately, our Mumbai Development Plan which has talked about 1 million affordable houses, is also saying 30% of that should be in rental housing. Though the fine print has to be the how of it. One needs to actually further work on it as to how do we make it happen. Capacity constraint is certainly a major bottleneck. Capacity constraint of the state parastatals. and the inability of a private sector driven by profit motive to actually come and work in partnership with the state to create affordable housing is a big question mark. I do not know how exactly that such a partnership can actually work. And of course, there is absence of clarity in how do you partner with the private sector. Now, these are the issues that will have to be looked into. Unfortunately, they have not been given that much of, not much has been talked about when we talk about these 4 verticals and these huge numbers of housing that we will create. And that is something I think we need to look upon very seriously in order to solve the problem and go ahead. Thank you.